Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Once again, I'm simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle, and I hope you all are having a great evening. And I want to thank everybody for chiming in tonight in the chats and watching during the live stream, even if you're just ghosting us. Ha ha! And everybody else that watches the video after we do the live. So anyway, what a big day. What a big day. So I'm going to be playing some videos. Might have something new and exciting in my videos. I don't know, that I can play and make sure we got a good signal going, right? And yeah, some blasts from the past, things that are going on now. And Mr. T really, really schooled some people today now, didn't he?
Nice guy. A lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island.
Donald Trump, that the president's job under Article 2 of the Constitution
Hello and welcome to Inside Politics. Let's start with Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Now, of course, Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Trump appointed Donald Trump.
Well, that's interesting because Trump.
President Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Trump has been president.
President Trump.
Kaylin, where are we right now in this sentencing proceeding?
Donald Trump.
Trump. We have a Donald Trump.
Donald Trump when it comes to Donald Trump.
Trump. And Donald Trump. Missing from that is Donald Trump.
You know, Trump, focus on Donald Trump, Trumpism, Trump, a lot of Trumps.
Fascinating.
In a sense, I don't know why we're surprised by Trump. How many times does he have to prove we can't be trusted?
Now, having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask?
Actually try to press up on Trump, but you can never get to him.
Yeah.
Because he had ex-FBI agents all around him?
All the time. And I tried a couple of times to press him and make arrangements where I could work with him and earn with him. I did that with other big contractors. I had the power of the unions. I could do all kinds of little things, but I couldn't get to him. He wouldn't bite. He just wouldn't bite. He didn't want to do anything like that. And there was layers of people in the middle. One of my guys said, we'll go up to the office. I said, we'll go up to the office. Everybody around him is an ex-FBI agent. We'll go up to the office, we'll get cuffed, and we'll go right to prison. So forget about Trump. He's a legitimate guy. He don't want to do it. Forget about Trump.
Yeah.
How much money went from USAID to the work at Wuhan and to their collaborator, Ralph Barrett, at the University of North Carolina, to collect and make coronaviruses that are weaponized, that are more deadly?
So I, first of all, reject the implicit accusation in that question, and I do not have at my finger. I do not have at my fingertips the particular details of USAID.
Are you saying for certain? Are you saying for certain that no USAID money went to the Wuhan Institute of Virology?
Go ahead.
No, please tell me. Are you stating that no USAID
I will
money
say
went?
I am happy to take questions from those in this audience. I'm happy to answer them. I appreciate that they treat every person in this room, including myself, respectfully. I called on you. I'm now calling on someone else. Go ahead.
Irrespectfully, please tell me, what are you denying?
Go ahead.
What
please.
is your denial?
Go.
It's a non-denial denial.
The storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI
forming lists. I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hey, folks. I'm glad you all got to join me tonight. I'm glad I'm here to join you. And I hope we have a great conversation tonight. Hi, Benjamin. How are you? Angela. Finding Dory. Nice to see you. Sissy. Dreamer. Nice to meet you. And Doc is here. Robin. Kathy. All right, I got a 5x5 from Doc. Benjamin's here. Tracy's here. David's here. Andrew. Wayne said, give me a thumbs up, so make sure you do that. And even after the video, if you're watching after the live stream, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Helps the video get around. Hi, Todd. How you doing? Nice to see you, Angela. Flannel Cheese. Nice to see you, too. Darla's here. Araceli. Pappy Two Bears. Elohim. How are you two? All right. All right. Nice to see you. So anyway, what a big day. What a big day. We're finding out all kinds of stuff coming in from the left to right to top to bottom and right in F and center. Remember when Mr. T said that? But anyway, the big news is the tariff situation and the rebound of the stocks. You know, of course, the lefties, they wouldn't be happy. Wouldn't be happy if, well, I had an old friend who used to use the saying, Junior, you wouldn't be happy if I hung you with a new rope. And, you know, you got to be careful when you say stuff like that, but that's what he used to say to me. Jackie, how you doing? Miss Mindersue. Nice to see you. So, anyway, that's what he used to tell me. And I started off the video, for those of you who weren't here, with a meme I had for a long time. I was going through my archives. And, yeah, what we know Trump is doing, what we don't know he's doing, okay? And this stuff is years in the making. The left likes to act like he is disjointed, making snap decisions. They're trying to think of their narrative. Whoa, oh, he crumbled with the tariffs. And then on the other hand, no, he didn't crumble. He did it on purpose because he's setting up his rich friends, insider trading. They don't know what to say or do. So we'll get into his art of the deal. This has been going around. His art of the deal strategy. And here you got Xi Jinping. He's, let me see what I got to deal with here with Mr. Trump. Figure out what he do next. Now, what Trump is doing is he's whittling down his opponents, okay? He challenged them all, okay? Threw the kitchen sink at every single damn one of them and told them, if you don't want any more trouble, you negotiate with me. And keep in mind that for 2 months, he's been telling people We've been getting screwed and we want it to stop. Or I am going to put some tariffs up that are going to rock your world. Remember that? 2 Z's with 3 snaps or whatever they used to do on In Living Color. And some came to the table over this 2.5 month period. He's been sending out emissaries. He's been making public statements. He's been telling the world it's not going to keep up. We're not going to keep up with this. And the day is coming. Liberation Day is coming. Remember, there's over 200 countries on the face of this earth. We deal with almost every damn one of them. Okay? The big tariffs were, about 55, 60 countries? All right? And that means there was at least that many that already came to Trump and worked something out before the tariffs hit. The leftist narrative is Trump is crazy. He's attacking the world. He's alienating us from the whole world. No, he gave them time. During the campaign, he said what he was going to do. And when I get in there, you guys know what I'm going to do. You better work a deal out. So there was probably 150 countries, 140 countries that worked out something with Mr. T, okay, and or his emissaries. So the hardheads, okay, you're looking at one on the screen, and the clowns in the EU wanted to be cute, okay? And it doesn't play cute with Mr. T. So he did what he said he would do. What has been the messaging since he put out the tariffs? You work with us and we'll work with you. All right? So that winnowed down the number of people that you have to wrestle, the number of people that you actually have to focus on in a tariff combat situation or whatever we want to call it, conflict. Just so happens it whittled it down to one. Okay? One, China. So Trump puts out the 90-day pause. And like I say, the narratives are, oh, he folded. In a pig's eye, he folded. Okay? In a pig's eye. I could have got the other post he put up. It's a little bit clearer, bigger letters, but I like this one. This is what Mr. T put up on Truth Social. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the United States of America to 125%, effective immediately. That was in response to China doing just what Trump said night before last. You made a bad move. You're not thinking right. Why'd you do that? And he had to put smackdown on him. Then guess what? They made another bad move. Part of the deal, Trump turns up the heat on them. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Department of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade. Remember, there's many other things beside a tariff. There's currency manipulation. There's VAT taxes, value-added taxes. There's favorable loans. There's rights away through navigable waters of sovereign nations within 200 miles. There's all kinds of things that can be negotiated, not only tariffs, but the smooth-brained, spittle-spewing liberals that run around kicking Teslas can't even figure out tariffs, never mind all the other stuff I mentioned. But anyway, trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States. Not only did they not retaliate, but they came with their hat in their hand to work out a deal. China didn't. China got lippy, okay? I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, when I first heard of this, before I saw this post by Donald Trump, I was thinking, oh my God, he was listening to Elon, right? Let me find Elon. And remember I said, there has to be a baseline of taxes. Tariffs. Remember that? I said, no, we can't have 0-0. Because our sandbox is a lot more fun and a lot more valuable to play in than their sandbox. They got to pay us. But I saw this video by Elon Musk. Then I'm listening to the fake news, which was saying Trump put a pause on the tariffs. He backed down. He folded. But anyway, here's Elon.
I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. That would be that's what I hope occurs. And also more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America, if they wish. If they wish to work in Europe or wish to work in America, they should be allowed to do so, in my view. So that has certainly been my advice to the president.
So I'm sitting there thinking, well, oh gosh, he did give in to Elon Musk, right? And this is after I watched videos from people from Europe like this one. They were, I should have known not to fall for it, but they were coming to him begging.
We stand ready to negotiate with the United States. Indeed, we have offered 0 tariffs for industrial goods, as we have successfully done with many other trading partners, because Europe is always ready for a good deal, so we keep it on the table.
We are also prepared to
countermeasures and defend our interests.
Yeah, we're always ready for a good deal. So I'm going, oh, why would he do that? Why would he just... But then Trump put this truth out. The second highlighted sentence. A substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%. Something we did not have 5 days ago on these countries. Trump giveth and Trump taketh away. And so we are in a substantially stronger position. It's not at all like the narrative the libs, smooth brain libs, and the mainstream media is putting out there. He got everybody wound up, freaked out, and now he's giving them something, but we're getting 10% from all these other countries. And how could he look like he's failed when he's taken in 10% from countries we weren't getting a dirty damn dime from? And not only that, but every single one of them that's come to Trump has agreed to lower their tariffs. So it compounds. The benefits compound. And it's like Trump was saying last night. This was last night. I mean, here he was, 10 o'clock at night, after having such a big day yesterday, giving a speech at a dinner.
Because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
Kissing up. And, but still, the mainstream media, knowing that the mainstream media puts the story out there like Trump folded. And, what a huge stride we've taken. What a huge stride. You'll hear it in future videos. I have the clips of. We're bringing in $2 billion a month. Oh, no, wait a minute. A day. $2 billion a day, on these tariffs. And there's 365 days in a year. And that doesn't include China. What Trump's going to end up with China. So China is in a bad spot. Trump has got the world on his side right now. With stroke of his pen, all these countries, all these leaders, all these politicians who knew if they didn't work something out with Trump, their economies would suffer and they would be out of luck. Now, Trump is gracious. Thank you, Mr. Trump. They're on his side. And who's the odd man out? China. It's called the art of the deal. So it's 10% that we were never seeing that we're seeing now. And how they can think that this is somehow a loss for Trump, that he loses face or doesn't have a spine. Man, this is deal making at a rock star level. Hi, Sandy, how you doing? Yeah, 730 billion. Bruce, how you doing? Yvonne, how you doing? Yeah, it's going to be at least $1 trillion a year. At least $1 trillion a year. Rick, nice to see you. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. I can only go so far back. KNS Cleanup, how you doing? All right, so, yeah, instead of 10% for the big guy, it's 10% for the U.S. of A. It was good enough for the big guy. It's good enough for us, right? But we still have these lunatic lefties. I remember me telling a story about a friend of mine. He told me to watch out because somebody had their eyes on me a long time ago. And he said, she's tough. She's tough. She gets mad at you. She'll burn herself alive just to get a little bit of smoke on you. And you get a visual of that. Somebody that gets themselves so mad, they'll set themselves on fire just to get a little smoke on you. And that's the way half these dopey liberals are. And it seems the more success Trump has, the madder they get, the crazier they get. And wait, here's somebody that crashed and burned. Right here. IRS head Melanie Krause resigns over data sharing agreement with ICE officials. Her career's over. Her credibility, her government career, over. Oh, and the other thing I wanted, before I read this article about Melanie Krause. Did you watch Trump's Oval Office presser that he held? How many law firms are coming to Trump with their hat in their hand? If I could have uploaded that whole presser and played it and commented on it, man, talk about messages being sent. He's doing with the deep state exactly what he did with all these recalcitrant nations. He's lining them all up. Going to put the smackdown on every one of them and see which ones come to him to work out a deal and to work material assistance for the wrongs they've committed, right? Just like these countries that Trump said have been damaging us for years and years. Time to make up for it. And the ones who keep fighting, the ones who keep attacking, distorting, practicing lawfare, they're going to get the China treatment. He's going to turn up the heat. It's going to be the same tactic that he's doing with these countries that have been abusive to us. These law firms. How many hundreds of millions was he talking about that these law firms were basically surrendering in the form of pro bono value of work, hours work, and cash? Right now they're around 700 million. They've got over half a dozen huge law firms. But Trump said, but they're not admitting guilt. Did you catch that? He said it's not an admission of guilt, but they are settling. The law firms that don't settle are going to get the China treatment. So, well, I think that's the wrong article. Wait a minute. Let me see here. So this woman who is burning herself alive to get a little smoke on Trump. Melanie Krause has officially resigned as acting head of the Internal Revenue Service, making her the third IRS leader to step down this year amid a period of intense upheaval. So the lefties are going, oh God, the three IRS, he can't keep people in these top positions. Well, maybe we don't want them, okay? Maybe this is the way you get rid of top people. Make them so miserable that they'll get the hell out and you don't have to go through a bunch of court battles. Her resignation follows Treasury Department's controversial decision to approve a data sharing agreement with the Department of Homeland Security, allowing immigration authorities access to taxpayer information on undocumented immigrants. What's wrong with that? Despite legal concerns from IRS attorneys and Krause being sidelined in the process. Oh, we're going to have you make decisions about foreign affairs, international relationships, predatory incursions. No, Melanie, you do what you're told. That's why they call it a job, a job. The IRS comes a move comes during a chaotic time for the IRS. Well, that's because they're being changed into the ERS, External Revenue Service, not where you can go around persecute your domestic, your neighbors that disagree with you or who you want to indoctrinate to some kind of hedonistic philosophy, communist Marxist philosophy, which is undergoing mass layoffs as a part of they underwent mass hirings under Biden's auto pen administration. That's how they showed job numbers jumping up, by handing out government jobs like bags of popcorn. The move comes during a chaotic time for the IRS, which is undergoing mass layoffs as a part of a sweeping federal government downsizing led by Elon Musk. Oh, and then you have all lefties. Elon Musk, we didn't elect Elon Musk. Under President Donald Trump. The agency has already cut thousands of jobs and gutted its civil rights office. Oh my, see, all the civil rights people are going to be hurt. Krause's departure just days before the April 15th filing deadline was reportedly driven by ethical concerns surrounding the data deal. Data deal, like, oh, we're wheeling and dealing in data. And frustration over being excluded from key divisions. Saying the same thing over again. She's just mad that she's not an authority, that she's got to listen to somebody else. And it's information on people who should not even be in this country. Thank you very much. What's her name? Melanie. Goodbye, Melanie. Put an egg in your shoe and beat it. You're out of here. Let's see. Hi, Lori. How you doing? Julie, nice to see you. Hawk, you're not here. Oh, okay. Hi, Sandy. Nice to see you. So, all right, that's good. Anyway, so people are having fun with the situation. A lot of people are not having fun. There were two people that Trump signed executive orders on. I forgot the guy's name, or the second guy's name already. But one person he signed an order on. He used the big T word, right? The big T word, you know what I'm talking about, as in reason with a T in front of it. Reason with a T in front of it. Let me see if I got that clip. Is this the clip? Let me see. Let's see if this is the clip. I'm not sure. I'll cut my mic off.
But the shrill voices that you're hearing this week about tariffs are the same scoundrels and frauds who never thought twice about when the United States lost 90,000 factories and plants. Think of that, 90,000. How do you do 90? If you had a map, a big map the size of that wall, and you had a pin for each factory, you wouldn't have enough room. You think of it, 90,000 factories since NAFTA.
Yeah, that was from last night's dinner. And what do you call them? Scoundrels and frauds. Scoundrels and frauds in the media. And sure enough, proved that right. But now they're trying to get their message honed and sent out. I want to keep that one where they said he was kissing his rear end in my studio. I don't want to have to go try to find that. Who was the second guy? I'm gonna play this video for you. I'm clearing out some of the stuff I've already played so I don't don't get them mixed up. And this is the one guy he uses the big T word on, right? Now, I see up the corner there, he's got the map still up, says Gulf of America. Did you all hear about this judge that said Trump has to put the AP, let them back in the White House, give them full unrestricted access to Air Force One and the Oval Office, just like you would any other ranking or named news agency? And I thought to myself, immediately, had to do it immediately. And I thought to myself, and he was a Trump appointee, I heard. Shows you how quick they can stab you in the back, right? He said it was viewpoint bias. Viewpoint bias. And I said, oh boy, Trump is going to blow a cork. Did you know that the judge stayed his own order within, well, relatively minutes of giving that big blowhard order? Can you imagine a judge is going to tell the President of the United States who he can let into his office? It may have been a couple of hours, because it wasn't until you don't hear the truth right away. You have to listen for it and look for it. They don't just lay the truth in front of you. President Trump has been ordered by a federal judge to let AP News back in to the Oval Office. He cannot discriminate on viewpoints. Viewpoint? Since when the hell is a so-called news agency refusing to respect executive orders, a difference of opinion? It has legal weight. So I'm not surprised he froze his own order. Kind of reminds me, Trump, they say Trump nominated him, but it kind of reminds me of this right here. Amy Coney Barrett. Remember I put that video up of Trump walking past her and her eyeballs were frozen and weird looking? She looked like she was going to jump out of her skin. Didn't want to make eye contact with Trump. D.C. Drano. With this Supreme Court victory for Trump allowing him to deport cartels is huge. It was only a 5-4 decision. Guess who joined the 3 liberal justices to keep the cartels here in America? Amy Coney Barrett. So yeah, I can see, even though Trump appointed this judge, that he would have the temerity to order Trump around in his own office. But something happened. That order got typed up real quick, staying his own order until April 13th, so that Trump can appeal it. And believe me, that's what's going to come up. That is not a difference of opinion. It's a news agency that is not respecting executive orders from the office of the President of the United States. So, no, they're not going to have their asses in his office until they do. But anyway, let me play this video where he's talking about a nitwit, a grandstander, glory seeker, who is going to have some sleepless nights after this executive order. If it was me, yeah, no, I wouldn't be sleeping good either.
The next presidential memorandum we have for you relates to Miles Taylor. You may recall that Miles Taylor served in the Department of Homeland Security during your previous administration. In his capacity with the Department of Homeland Security, he leaked classified information. He wrote a book under the pseudonym Anonymous, making outrageous claims both about your administration and about others in it. What this presidential memorandum is going to do, one, it's going to strip any active clearance that he has in light of his past activities involving classified information. It's also going to order the Department of Justice to investigate his activities to see what else might come up in that context, given his egregious behavior during your previous administration.
And I had no idea who this guy was. I had no idea. I saw him on CNN, or one of them, I guess CNN, a lot. He'd be on all the time saying that the president is I had no idea. It's like, you know, in this office you have a lot of young people, and they're here. I'll see him for 2 minutes, and I assume he was in the office, but I barely remember him. It was somebody that went out and wrote a book and said all sorts of terrible things that were all lies. It was this gentleman or that gentleman, like I dealt with him all the time. I had no idea who this guy. I said, who the hell is Miles Taylor? And he made a living on going on CNN talking about the president. And I think what of lies, bad things, and I think it's like a traitor. It's like spying. He walks into the office. He's supposed to be sitting here. A lot of people, you know, I'll be here and there'll be 20 people standing in the room. There'll be oftentimes young people in the office. I assume he was one of them at least. But I didn't know anything about him. And he wrote a book, Anonymous, and I always thought it was terrible. And now we have a chance to find out whether or not it was terrible. But it was a work of fiction. Had a lot of publicity, got himself a nice job with CNN or one of them. And I think we have to do something about it. You can't have that happen. If that happens to other presidents, it wouldn't be sustainable for other presidents. I seem to be able to sustain, but if that happened to other presidents, I mean, it's just unfair. And if it was a Democrat president, I'd say that's a terrible thing. A thing like that can happen. That's a terrible thing. And it's time to find out whether or not somebody can do that. Can they write a book? And, you know, because they happen to be one of a lot of people in a room, and they go out and write a book, and worse than that, call it anonymous, like it's a big deal. And everybody's saying, who is it, who is it, who is it? Then it was found out who he was a long time later, and he got a lot of publicity off that one. He's like a promoter. But we're going to find out whether or not somebody's allowed to do that. I think it's a very important case, and I think he's guilty of treason, if you want to know the truth. But we'll find out. And I assume we're recommending this to the Department of Justice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you heard the words right there. The big T word. Multiple times. And sleepless nights would mean for people like Kelly. All right. Whoa, I'm trying to get that off the screen. Ha ha ha. People like Kelly, people like Millie, any number of people who are involved in the same shenanigans. Oh, Pappy am I coming through good, folks? Pappy's having, is the signal stable? Is the signal stable? Anyway, while we're figuring that out, let me see what else I've got. You know, I found some old pictures. This is somebody else that's not sleeping good. Okay, we got him. We got him, and we're going to be rounding him up. Be rounding up a lot of them. Who's gone already, Miss Mindersue? Hi, Miss Bender Sue. Who's gone already? So, yeah, Dr. Ouchie, the little rat. Yeah, I found that, and I found this one. These are things you can get a shot of and put on your Meta. Patriotic Barbie put this out a while back, and I saved it. Patriotic Babe. Let's not forget. Fauci also led NIAID funded horrific experiments where scalps of aborted babies were stitched to the back of lab rats. We don't like that type of thing. We don't like that type of stuff. And we want people to pay a price for it. And we will see that. I got taken down. I had a video taken down because I used this on my thumbnail. But now I bet you I could use it and it wouldn't take me down. Of course, Trump is taking off like a rocket, right? Like a spaceship. Or what did that guy say, Henry or Anton? What's his name? Harry Anton. I might have a clip of that. Trump is taking off like a rocket. Here's a screenshot I got of polls. Where'd it go? Here we go. Here's a screenshot. Trump's presidential power is too much, 47%, right amount, 36, too little, 17. So most people, about 53%, think Trump has either not enough or just the right amount of power. And 47% are smooth-brained morons that don't understand what we're up against. But people are getting education in our Constitution and legal system. For those who want to pay attention, they could learn something. But for somebody like me to get thrown into a period of hours during the day thinking, oh my God, Trump paused the tariffs for 90 days. He must have got spooked or something. Then I see Trump's tweet and I say, no, he's got us 10% from places we weren't getting squat from. They mislead. They what's the term that the FCC uses in their complaints? Distorted news. So here is Harry Anton talking about Trump.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle. What am I talking about here? Let's talk about Trump executive orders in 2025. He's already signed 111 so far. That is the most at this point in a presidency in at least 100 years. In fact, it's the most in any single year, and we're only in April, since Harry S. Truman in the early 1950s. The bottom line is whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's come in and not try to deliver on what he at least believes was his promises on the campaign trail, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
How are people reacting to and feel about Trump's approach?
Yeah, okay, so Trump's approach here, what are we talking about? Trump's approach to presidential power. I think the American people recognize what he's doing here is completely different. We're talking, get this, 86% of the American public believes that Trump's approach to presidential power is completely different from past presidents compared to only 14% who believe it is in line with precedent. And we're talking about at least 79% of Democrats, independents, and Republicans. So again, you can agree or you can disagree with Donald Trump, but what you can't disagree with is that he's doing things very differently. I have used the Frank Sinatra quote before. He is doing it, quote unquote, my way, and that is what Donald Trump has done throughout both of his presidential terms, and he's certainly doing that, Kate Baldwin, in term number 2.
So completely differently, clearly they agree, but is it, take it a step further, do the people think he has too much, he's taken too much power?
Yeah, this I think is the real question, right? You can believe that he's doing stuff completely differently, but do you think that he has a little too much power or not? And this is interesting. So Trump's presidential power is too much, the right amount, too little. Well, 47% say too much, but then you get 36% who say the right amount, then you get 17% who say too little. So you're essentially dealing with a majority of the American public, 53%, who do not say that Trump has too much power. They either says he has too little power or the right amount of power. So the idea, that argument that Donald Trump is, quote unquote, a king, that I don't think holds with the American people. It does hold maybe with 47%, but with the majority of folks, they believe Donald Trump's doing something completely differently, and they don't believe he has too much power, and the executive orders he signed certainly suggest he's no lame duck. He is, as I said at the beginning, a soaring eagle.
A soaring eagle. That's what I should have put on my thumbnail, a soaring eagle. So, yeah, he's got just the right amount of power, a lot of people think, or not enough. So, what won't work on your iPad, Miss Mindersu? I hope you got it worked out. Oh, my, censoring. Oh. Your emojis cover the letters up in chats, from my view. They stack the emojis on top of the words for some reason, but I can read most of it. Who came in? Jerry's here. How you doing, Jerry? A Google account. Nice to see you. So Larry's here. How you doing, Larry? So anyway, who was the other guy that Trump signed an executive order basically to investigate? The one who kept saying it was the most cleanest election ever. I said to myself, oh, I'll remember his name. But I already forgot it. But I couldn't get all those clips. I'd never get to go up until late. So I'm trying to see. Did you all see this from Glenn Beck? This is the kind of stuff some of these crazy lefties need to hear, need to understand what we're up against. Congressman telling Glenn Beck they're being spied on and menaced by the C.N.I.A, right?
I've been to Washington, I don't know how many times in the last 5 years. I've had congressmen ask me, can you leave your cell phone outside? Let's go for a walk. You're carrying any electronics? Do you have an Apple Watch? No, I don't. Okay. And then they'll say, outside as we're walking quietly, the CIA is monitoring everything that we're doing in Congress. They're monitoring all of us. And 2 of them have told me, we've been threatened. Behind closed doors, we've been threatened by the CIA. That was a little scary to hear that. And I've heard it over and over and over again.
Yeah. So to the people on the left that are worth reaching out to, you need to pay attention to stuff like this. Because if they can do it to Donald Trump, and they could do it to congressmen, and they can do it to news people, you're a piece of cake when it comes time for you to get your rear end kicked. Okay? Or for you to be investigated. Now, Trump has authorized, hi, Ronald, how you doing? Yeah, it was something like that, Keebler, or I can't remember his name. But anyway, it's two of them. The one that I just played, where Trump used the treason word multiple times, that young man is in trouble. Krebs, thank you, Mark. Krebs, yeah. He's the other one that's going to get investigated. Krebs. So, here is an interesting thing that not a lot of people caught. And I'm asking myself, and I've asked the chats, to cogitate on what she could be talking about. Let me see if this is the right clip.
And then the president on Thursday told us that there was an incredible discovery that the Doge team had made. He called it horrible and incredible. Can you reveal that yet? Give us details on what it was about?
There has been a discovery. I hate to leave you hanging on a cliff, but I don't want to get ahead of the president on that. But I can confirm there has been a discovery. It's just not quite yet ready for release.
Horrible discovery. What could the horrible discovery be, folks? That was made, and Trump is waiting to disclose that. Here's another picture I got blast from the past, right here, folks. Could it be tied into something like this? There's a congresswoman. Oh my, who could it be? At an Al-Qaeda training camp in Somalia. She's trying to get this picture blocked. Share it everywhere. Yeah. Now, I heard Trump several times excusing Biden while still, pounding on him for being a nincompoop and a bad person. But this is a old picture from back in the early days of this meme war, okay? Meme war. This is what we were hoping to see years ago before we figured out it was going to be a long slog, that we were going to go through laws of the United States 11.3 and U.S. treaties 11.4. And isn't that exactly what we're going through? So I thought I'd bring that up from memory lane. But on top of these executive orders that he's signing, they're doing just what I said 2 years ago needed to be done. At the time, I was talking with members of the military and government workers in general. U.S. to deny visas, green cards over social media posts. Social media posts. They're going to be, as I've used the term before, scraping or combing through people's social media. And if it turns out that they're working against the best interests of this country, in this case, they're going to get deported, lose their green cards. But I think it's a matter of national security to do it for anybody in a position of public trust, to go through their social media posts. And it doesn't matter if they erase them, because the internet is forever. I saw this story here. I saw this story about half a dozen times on different YouTube videos about a soccer coach who got arrested over a missing 13-year-old, I believe it was 13-year-old boy. And I said, boy, that's horrible. I may have watched one of them. one of the videos. 3 days go by, and I find this out, that he was an illegal, migrant soccer coach. Not just, and all the other videos from all the other news services said soccer coach, soccer coach. They left out the first two words. And turns out this is his second known victim of S and then A, S3 actual, and then assault. This young person did not survive. The other did. With the climate in this country as it is, I think it's criminal to suppress the fact that he was an illegal migrant working at a school with children. One lost their life. So when you see stories about that, make a mental note. Who was the news reporter? What was the news service? And did they tell the whole story? Because here we go with these creeps now. Another wacko judge. Judge gives Trump administration deadline to provide evidence against Mahmoud Khalil. You all haven't got YouTube, Judge? You can look at him preaching at these protests that are shutting down schools, causing mayhem and strife and property damage. You haven't seen where he's called for the destruction of our Western civilization? You need proof? But ABC News, no, is this ABC or Clear Cut? ABC does the same crap. In a major legal development, an immigration judge in Louisiana has ordered the federal government to provide evidence by Wednesday to justify its attempt to deport Mahmoud Khalil, a prominent Columbia University student. A 30-some-year-old student? Give me a damn break. At a hearing on Tuesday, Judge Jamie Comins, I meant to look that person up, but I can imagine what I'll be looking at. Some bug-eyed weirdo liberal gave the government just 24 hours to submit the evidence that claims justifies Khalil's deportation. Khalil, a permanent U.S. resident, not anymore. Formerly permanent, it's been revoked, is fighting the charges with the help of his legal team. Where are you getting that money from? Including attorney Mark van der Hout. Okay, we'll see what Trump does with you. Like what he did with those other law firms that have bent the knee, kissed the ring, not just of Trump, but the whole country. You better get on board, or there'll be consequences. With all the stuff that's going on, all the half-assed, excuse my language, reporting that they do, they waste their time. CNBC puts this out. Former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, some kind of chicken little bull crap from somebody most of the country doesn't even know who the hell he is. I know who he is. I know his parents were real good friends with George Soros. He named a hotel after him, I believe in Hungary. Instead of America First, we're heading for what? Disaster or whatever chicken little garbage he's putting out there. They put this up today. But they already produced and put the video up before Trump took care of the tariff situation. Ha ha ha. So it's just more blather and noise from the weirdos. Weirdo nation. Here it is. I don't know what it's doing now, but here's what it closed at. I got this right at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock on the dot. Dow Jones Industrial Average went up almost 3,000 points in 3 hours. Not even that, 2.5 hours. What's going on, Miss Minute Sue? You losing me? People saying I got 5 by 5. So anyway, that really disturbed the mainstream media because they wanted to report, very badly did they want to report that things were going bad. Things were going to go south. And they got so disappointed. Here's Morning Schmo and Mika Brzezinski. Morning Joe and Mika. Let me cut my mic off, Lamb.
Headlines, New York Times, talking about the trade war escalating and market turmoil spreading across the world. Wall Street Journal, I will say, Mika, fortunately, the overnight Asia rebounded pretty strongly. Europe's looking pretty good. Futures also looking strong right now for the United States.
Yeah, you didn't get to give a bad report, did you? I got a young lady in here. I don't even know. I'll play her in a second. This is Bill O'Reilly. I got his clip when he was talking about his opinion. Now, this is before Trump did what he did today, but Bill O'Reilly's taken up for him, even though I wonder about Bill O'Reilly sometimes. But I'll go ahead and play it.
Now, at 7 o'clock, I turned on CNN. I wanted to get a wider look at reaction to what Trump did today. And the anchor at 7 is a very smart woman. She's an ideologue to the left, but she's not a nut. To my shock, she was almost sympathizing with China. Let me tell you about China. They are the worst cheaters on the planet. They steal. Every untoward thing that you could do economically, they do. Every year, the United States sends $300 billion more to China than they send to us in trade. $300 billion. Ireland, with a population of 5 million, takes more U.S. goods than China. Ireland. China blocks U.S. goods from coming into their country. So I don't care whether their tariffs 5,000%.
Yeah, no, this seems to be this seems to be about remaking and putting China in a box, right? And there's a lot to that.
No. It is a game of chess, but it's more than that. It's a throwdown. We've had enough. You heard Trump say it.
Right.
You're building your military you're building your military off U.S. dollars. We're financing their military by the trade deficit. You're building that military to a point where war will be inevitable. Because you are stockpiling weapons and men to an extent that you don't need to be defensive. Trump knows this. But I want to get back to the American media. They don't know it because they hate Trump so much. They never report the truth. They never report the big picture. They never give you the danger of China, ever.
That's the truth. They never report the truth. They never give you the whole story. And what they're doing is inciting vitriol. But I tell you what, remember, folks, when I was saying that a lot of these characters look like they're falling apart? I've said it about Dopey David Packman. I said it about Stink Uger. I said it about this Cohen character. I can't remember his name. That they look like they haven't shaved or hadn't slept, and they just like they're having a bad way to go. And I've talked many times about this little creature right here. I call him the Hobbit. The Hobbit. He's the one who was married to Trump's aide. Now, you all know his name. Help me out with it in the chats. I just refer to him as the Hobbit. And here he is. Get your cups out. Because it's liberal tears. He's actually crying. This is a condensed version of the video. Every time he broke down, started having tears come out of his eyes. Do you think this business of these lawsuits, giving up hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements rather than criminal charges for election interference, libel, slander, whatever else, and these two characters that are getting investigated by the FBI for treason and for their misrepresentations of the security of the election? And what do you think this role this guy played in changing the law to extend the statute of limitations so they could come up with that stupid, false, libelous claim by E. Jean Carroll, that where all these liberals can run around calling Trump an adjudicated rapist. This is the guy right here that did it. This is an interview he did yesterday. You tell me he's in a good mood.
I'm going to get moist-eyed here, him. Or whatever it is that these people seem to be. And I went so far, actually, yesterday to Arnold and Porter. That also was very moving because something people want, and I wanted, and us. We're all in this together, rule of law. And some people just don't give a shit, and that makes me angry. Granddaughters of Judge Rifkin
liberal tears. Tell me that's not a scared person right there. The most arrogant ass. That's right. Thank you, George Conway. Miss Minter says, ooh, Conway, Jess, how you doing, Justin Bean? Yeah, Kellyanne's ex. Yeah, let's watch that again. That's so fun, watching George Conway, who tried to put Mr. T in prison, okay, and who tried to cost him tens of millions of dollars, and who has been doing nothing but being a subversive. Now they're going to be looking at you.
I'm going to get moist-eyed here, him. Or whatever it is that these people seem to be. And I went so far, actually, yesterday to Arnold and Porter. That also was very moving because something people want, and I wanted, and us. We're all in this together, rule of law. And some people just don't give a shit, and that makes me angry. Granddaughters of Judge Rifkin
Yeah. Yeah, and he's a little late on his Just for Men hair coloring, too. You see the gray coming out. So it makes you wonder, what is this shocking news that is being alluded to? Was horrible news we're being told is coming up. Might it have something to do with this guy? Him trying to get a Stinger missile to take out Trump? Him having direct talks with people in Ukraine? Is that going to get tied back to some people? Turns out that he had foreknowledge of the attack in Butler. How did he have that? Did he get that through his Ukrainian ties? Are we going to find out something about those apps? I don't know.
The former president and the current candidate at that point through a golf course fence in Florida. He was stopped only because a Secret Service agent was a hole ahead of where the president was playing on that course and spotted the barrel of that gun through the bushes before the president advanced to play that hole.
Yep. You want to go with? Keep walking!
What's your name, Austin? Ryan?
Yep. So that happened really because a woman was smart enough to take down his license plate number when he tried to get away. She thought something looked suspicious, so thank goodness for that. We were told so little about either assassination attempt against the current president and the men behind them while President Biden was still in office. But now, 7 months later, these disturbing details, an alleged effort by Ruth, there was more. He also wanted to, according to these documents, purchase military weapons because he, quote, needed equipment so that Trump cannot get elected. New court documents released ahead of his trial, which will happen in September, reveal that he, quote, sought to purchase military weapons online from an associate he believed to be a Ukrainian. The two had discussed the July 2024 attempt to assassinate Trump, with Ruth writing, "I wish," about the Butler attempt, and then said, "Send me a rocket-propelled grenade or Stinger, and I will see what we can do." Unclear who Ruth was actually communicating with here. With that, we bring in Richard Staropoli. He served as a special agent in the Secret Service for 25 years and served in the Presidential Protective Division. Richard, thank you very much for being here. So what do you make of what we're learning here?
What do I make of this? You know, the question is, why do we know so little about these two investigations? The answer is because so little was done. This is a glaring example of how politically compromised the senior leadership of both the Secret Service, the FBI, and the Department of Homeland Security was during the Biden administration. The only reason this minimal amount of investigation was even done is because it was so publicly seen and because the Secret Service actually fired shots at this guy. Otherwise, I'd say, in my opinion, nothing would have been done. Just like in Butler, right? Why was that body burned so quickly? Where was the level of investigation that should have been done? Here's two glaring examples of two people who were trying to take out the guy who was going to become the next president of the United States, and we don't even know the most basics about either of these two folks.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. The Thomas Crook story and the investigation was like hours long, basically. Oh, it's all gone. No social media footprint, no nothing. I want to show this. This is another court document for Ryan Ruth, but trying to buy this rocket-propelled grenade. And in this one, he says, "Send me an RPG or Stinger, and I will see what we can do." He asked about the price and whether his associate could, quote, ship it to me.
Yeah, how is it that no one in the entire U.S. intelligence apparatus had a handle on who this guy is? Here's a guy that's exchanging emails, and we don't know with who yet, but I have my suspicions. For all I know, it's the Ukrainians, with the support of the corrupt Biden administration. Yet no one has any color on who this guy is or what he's all about. The guy's talking about blowing up a plane, not just for the former president of the United States, but for the guy who's going to become the next president of the United States. And that wouldn't have happened in just a vacuum.
Yeah,
had he detonated that RPG, there would have been 100 people killed.
Right, you are. He says he showed his destructive intent, Ruth did, for other steps such as surveillance at Palm Beach International Airport and his active tracking of President Trump's plane and his stated intent to destroy the plane in his Dear World letter. So, Richard, thank you very much. I hope you'll come back when we get to this.
Anytime.
Before that, but also when we get to this trial, which is going to be very interesting in September.
Yes.
So, the FBI knew about him and didn't do anything. Also, a report came out that Zelensky, and he had a formal press conference. Did you all hear about it? That they captured Chinese soldiers in Ukraine. I don't know. And we got Mr. T giving China the what for. And yeah. So the pieces of the puzzle are going to come together, but they got these communications from Signal. Does that confirm that some of these communications through Signal have already been documented, intercepted, and that it's not as secure as people like maybe Conway thought they were? It's just dawning on him. Is that why the tears are flowing? That these satellite phones I talked about a long time ago, that Hillary ordered when she was Secretary of State through New Zealand, but we were told that we did a communication equivalent of what the Israelis did with the pagers in those satellite phones. A communication equivalent. Namely, we infiltrated those satellite phones that they thought were secure. Add on top of that, everybody going on Signal thinking it's secure. When that dawns on you, wouldn't it make you cry? Yes, it certainly would. But I want to know about the ties to the mainstream media and the coordinated messaging that is inciting a lot of vitriol. Here's this report where I'll put this up before I get on to that. This is Donald Trump Jr. put this up. If you think it's bad that Ukraine never said thank you for everything the United States has done for them, the fact that they seemingly did not tell us that this sociopath literally tried to buy arms from them to assassinate my father seems like a much bigger deal. Wonder why? And there he is, this decrepit-looking creature. Trump assassin assault missile from Ukrainian arms dealer. But how much did the FBI know, the CIA know, and not do a damn thing? Who are those people? Sounds to me like they're probably crying too. Citizen Free Press put this up. Lauren Young, a Democrat campaign strategist who worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign, made a Facebook post suggesting that Iran target President Trump at home in Mar-a-Lago. The Democrat Party is the party of violence. Dear Iran, he's on the golf course. There she is with Hillary Dillery Doo. Tennessee, how you doing? That's what I was saying the other night. They are the party of violence. As a matter of fact, I have been ghosting Midas Trash Network, their community page. And you know what I noticed? I noticed that there are some people, moderate, posting on Midas Touch platform. Moderate people. Michelle Y. put up, 8th graders were at the Museum of Tolerance. They had 104-year-old Holocaust survivor who was a guest speaker in tears after their rude and disrespectful behavior. We're talking about 8th graders. She said she would never speak there again. a 104-year-old woman, Holocaust survivor. She said she would never speak there again. The museum has banned Hermosa Beach School District from attending there again. The students on the way back to school were throwing food at cars passing on the freeway. What has happened to our children? I'm so hurt. I have family that bravely fought to protect our country and those of the Jewish. I am brokenhearted. We need to teach these kids the value and respect for human life. She had no comments, a very few thumbs ups. How many? I might have got that in screenshot. One thumb up. One thumb up. Usually these Midas trash posts are wiseacre comments about Trump, and they get all kinds of thumbs up and same old prattle. So I went ahead and answered her. I reached out to her. Most who post here could care less about the dumpsters behind Planned Parenthood full of remains after organs sold off of thousands of kids surgically and chemically damaged for life. Anger, vitriol, and violence are their hallmarks, and the ilk of Luigi, their heroes. Sad. Just letting her know that where she's posting, that's the kind of people she's dealing with. That's the kind of people. I've got some posts I'll go over one day that are just jaw-dropping. First of all, in their childishness. Secondly, in their anger. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I want to thank everybody for going to buy me a coffee. And last week was great. I had a lot of people go by and help out. The week before was a little touch and go ski. But I tell you what, I do appreciate everybody that stopped by in the last, I'd say, 8 or 9 days. Hilarious. Angela, Gary, Cosette, Miss Mendersu, Mike and Bev, Todd, Wayne, Pappy Two Bears, and William. I do appreciate it. And I have a link in the description. If anybody wants to help out, a link in the description, buy me a coffee. As this is a viewer-supported channel only. Here on YouTube, I'm not monetized. And your support is greatly appreciated. Here's something. Put on your meta. Your president, namely the creeps I was just talking about, hired 80,000 IRS agents to audit Americans with $600 in their bank account. My president hired one guy who works for free to audit the corrupt government. It's the power of a crooked media to get these people to act irrational. Or maybe just are irrational. Maybe no matter what you do, you're going to have 15 or 20% of people having a t-shirt with Elon Musk and a target on him. Your hat is offensive. Looking like a freak, telling you you're offensive. What's this one? Oh, AOC busted flying first class to Las Vegas. Communist event with Bernie. There she is. She's their front runner. She's their front runner. It's either her or Jasmine Crockett. Where's that? I had a video of, I think it was Chuck Todd. One of them telling her, you don't need to run right now. Where is that video? I might have that in my studio. If not, I'll pull it out another day. But he's telling her, yeah, this might not be the best time. Here he is. Here he is. What do you want to be stuck with? Jasmine Crockett? Who else do you got besides AOC? Oh, Ilhan Omar, that's right.
Here'd be my warning to any conventional Democrat running for governor of California in 26. Go look at the track record of any political party trying to win a governorship for for 20 straight years. It doesn't happen very often, right? And so this is 16 straight years of Democratic governance in California. It's the longest, I think, going back nearly 100 years. Governor is the one place where voters won't always vote their jersey color. So, and I think voters are going to be looking for somebody from the outside. And I think that Harris, somebody who's the former vice president, former U.S. senator, former district attorney in San Francisco, how does she sell change? She's got to somehow run against Gavin Newsom's governorship. So I just don't see the path for her. I could see an outsider Democrat being able to message this. I think it's a tough place for her to be. If I were advising her, I'd tell her, go throw yourself into the rebuild of L.A. and get involved with the L.A. Olympic Committee. Be above politics for a couple of years and come back maybe in 2030 or
2030 or 2032. I thought he was talking about AOC. He's talking about Kamala. They got nobody. They don't want Kamala. Why would he sit there and tell her not to come back till 2030? Oh, boy. Anyway, I meant to put this up the other day. Greg Kelly uncovers government guidance insisting on use of Signal. Is that ghosts in the machine, folks? That's what I was trying to get at with the Signal app and all these people crying and getting scared. They were all using Signal app. And I believe it's compromised. Fully compromised. Ghosts in the machine. Ha ha. We'll be seeing a lot more liberal tears flowing. A lot more. That took me way out of my current event studio because I had those screenshots a lot earlier, but didn't have time to play them. Did you hear about this? Exclusive. Donald Trump Jr. Bye-bye. Senior C.I.A. official who facilitated Biden's military COVID-19 vaccination fired. There she is, a delicate flower. Donald Trump said bye-bye. Donald Trump Jr., I mean. So, yeah, we're chopping the tree down, that's for sure. There's another report out about people covering up a report on COVID-19. If I don't get to it tonight, just know, because I want to cover this, talk more about this stuff. Just know that there was a report about C-19 that has been buried, and some people could get in a lot of trouble for that. Whoever was running the auto pen buried the C-19 report. But anyway, the survey of self-identified leftists, 55%, said unaliving Trump is justified.
How do you feel about Donald Trump?
I think that he deserves to die.
You should what?
Die.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
So who do you want to run America?
The people, preferably.
You want the people to run America?
Like a democracy should be, yes.
Do you feel like the people voted for him?
I think the people were fooled.
55% of them. Look at this creep. This is a Princeton, I believe he's from Princeton University. He's a professor. He's a professor. I think people that behave this way and talk this way should have their credentials yanked, especially attorneys. What do you think?
Have to grapple with it because it's the snake, it's the beast coiled up in the heart, the bosom of the country, as Frederick Douglass said. And the fact that they are doubling down on this shows you what kind of human beings they actually are.
Say more.
We chose a felon who is more interested in loyalty, who's more interested in retribution, who's more interested in grift than in democracy. And we chose a felon because we didn't want to elect a black woman. So to read that, to actually explicate that, is to say we would rather destroy the republic than for that to have happened. And until we grapple with it, there's no amount of protesting I could do. There's no amount of resistance that could come into play to actually force 78 million people to grapple with what motivated them to put themselves in this position.
Yeah, Donald Trump's a grifter. All the vitriol, all the insults, all the slurs. Here, this looks like a... I can't remember what this young lady was talking about. Let me see. Let's talk about the latest what. I don't want to say. You never know what will come out of their mouths. I took this video yesterday at some time. I can't remember quite what it is. Let's see what it is.
Let's talk about the latest Doge contract cuts, because sometimes it's difficult to differentiate whether these were actual government projects that taxpayer dollars were being allocated towards, or if Doge is kind of simplifying a larger program that maybe had a different, greater purpose of some sort. So let's go down the list. $265,000 to find out why Black, Indigenous people of color like to read Japanese comic books. Did this actually happen? Yes. I found the physical copy of the contract on the Institute of Museum and Library Services website. It was a 3-year research project at Queens College in New York. They actually ended up spending more money than what Doge cited on this contract. It says on the website that they spent around $313,000. Next one on the list, $250,000 for LGBTQ+ historical plaques in Ohio. This one was also correct. I found the contract on the website once again. They spent $249,810 to be exact, and this is what the plaques look like. They're scattered throughout Ohio in either places of significance or about people of significance in the LGBTQ+ community. The University of Tennessee was given $400,000 to study LGBTQ library users' metadata. So Doge did round up on this one. Grant was actually for around $393,000, but this was what they were doing. They were trying to find out how to make libraries more accessible for LGBTQ+ users when they're searching for things on the databases. I want to know what all of you guys think about these programs though. Was this money well spent? Was it necessary? Or do you guys think it was considered wasteful spending like Doge is saying? Leave your thoughts below and hit that follow button.
Like I say, it's only money, right? It's only money. What are the lefties thinking? Here's one. Every lefty should. How could you do the math on what this person is costing society for the way they're choosing to live?
I'm going to give you one that has it all. Here's a taste of what we heard from these I don't know how many groups, 150 groups at various protests, the hands-off protests this weekend. Take a listen to SOT 8.
I am Black. I am Filipino-Japanese, second generation. I'm a disabled trans man. But I'm also a Medicaid patient. I'm also a person who uses food stamps. I'm also a person who has been through houselessness in this country. I am also a person who has gone through substance use and addiction. And most of all, I am a patient of Planned Parenthood.
Oh, my Lord. What?
I am everything that Donald Trump and Elon Musk want to erase.
I'm gluten-free. She hit it all.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that. Here's a video of people in New York getting fed up with the protesters outside. And they're winging their trash out off the balconies out on top of these Hamas protesters in New York, on the streets of New York. Banana peels and old rotten milkshakes, who knows what else. So anyway, it's not the safest thing to do in the world. I don't endorse it, but it's funny anyway. That doesn't mean it's not funny. It doesn't mean I endorse it. Yeah, I'm sure it did have dog poopy in there. Been my trash bag, it would have. Let's see, who's this guy? It says, listen to this. So I said, okay, I might as well listen to it. Who's this? Matt Walsh? Who is this? Daily Wire. Who is that? Let me see. Cut my mic off.
Listen to this TikToker as she explains her plan.
ICE is doing whatever the Orange Tyrant is telling them to do. Invading schools, churches, hospitals. Nothing's off limits. I live right next to an elementary school. My house has been used to harbor escaping black slaves. My house was part of the Underground Railroad, and I will not hesitate to hide those kids in my basement to keep them safe, to get them back to their families. I will not hesitate to barricade my doors to protect those kids, and I'll hide their parents. I will hide those kids to protect those kids and their families.
So just kind of a pro tip here, but just a bit of advice. Don't ever announce publicly that you want to take kids from your local elementary school and lock them in your basement and then barricade.
Yeah, especially when you're a weirdo. A weirdo. Let's see. I'm trying to see which ones I played. Which video I played. I got this one from Trump. last night. Okay, and anybody who got any sense would know that Trump knew last night, especially when he called the media, a bunch of scoundrels and whatnot. He knew which way he was going to go with these tariffs and which countries were working with him, and that he needed to be real tough on China. But anyway, I'm not sure if I played this. Let me see if I did.
Adam Shifty Shifts. Can you believe this guy? He's got the smallest neck.
This is the one about Adam Schiff. And then I got a video of Adam Schiff trying to stir up trouble for Trump.
And the biggest head, we call him watermelon head. I'd say, how could that big fat face stand on a neck that looked like this finger? How can it? It was the weirdest thing. It's a mystery. Nobody can understand it. But he's one of the most dishonest human beings I've ever seen. And, how we can allow people like that to run in office is a shame, but we did. He was in charge of the witch hunt. He was in charge of the fake witch hunt with Russia, Russia, Russia. It was a made-up story. Made up. Think of it. They make up a story. They know it's made up. It's gone on for a year and a half, 2 years. Russia, Russia, Russia. I knew nothing about it. The only thing I knew was that I taxed the pipeline that I told you about, that I put all sorts of sanctions and everything else. They never had a problem like they had with me. But it was Russia, 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 constant, as a method of, what they did is that was the complaint about why she lost an election, because crooked Hillary was expected to win the election. But they didn't see what we saw. We saw the biggest crowds in history gathering, only superseded by the crowds we just had. But here's a guy that goes out, and he goes to an intelligence hearing, or whatever you might call it, and it's supposed to be secret. He'd walk out. He'd either make a call off the record, this is crooked Adam, shifty Schiff. He's a shifty Adam. Or he'd just go out blatantly and have a news conference. And because it had to do with me and my family, he'd go out and have a news conference. And he said, now you've got to remember, he knows it's a hoax because he made it up with crooked Hillary. So he knows it's a hoax because we're dealing with human beings on the other side. He'd say, Donald Trump Jr., the son of the President of the United States, will spend many years in prison because of what he's done with Russia. Now, think of that statement on a human basis. I have a son, a young son, who is being told that he's going for prison on something he doesn't even know what they're talking about. He said, Dad, I don't know what's going on. They keep talking about I'm involved with Russia. I don't know anything about Russia, I swear to you, Dad. And yet, Adam Schiff goes out and makes a statement about a hoax that he made up, that he knows is false. How bad a human being do you have to be? They put my son and my family through that kind of trauma. These are bad people. These are sick degenerates. And I used to be much nicer to them. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but I've just seen too much. They make up a story about Russia. It was a hoax. And eventually, now they've all admitted it was a hoax. On to the next one. That's Russia, Russia, Russia. But they know it's a hoax. And they say about a young man that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison because of what he's done with Russia. He knows it's a hoax. How bad do you have to be to have that happen to your son? And, it has a bad effect on a family, a bad effect. Are you okay, Don? I am, Dad, but I don't understand. They keep tying me to Russia. I don't know anything about Russia. He didn't know a damn thing about Russia. It's a disgraceful situation. That's why we got to kick their asses in the midterms, or we got to kick their asses.
So Adam Shifty Schiff heard that last night. And then today, you saw what was happening with these other characters being put under investigation. Do you think Adam Schiff is getting a good night's sleep over that stuff? I don't think he is. But Trump's focusing on the midterms. And So maybe he feels like he's got a little break. Going to have a little break. I don't know. It won't be for long, I can tell you that. Mr. T's going to come back after him. Let's hope. But anyway, what I've got is Scott Bessent talking about the tariff situation. Okay. And I have another clip of him with Maria Bartiromo, which I'll play in a little bit. But anyway, this is his opinion on the he was giving hints out to people, okay? And this is one of his hints that he was giving out yesterday. And he said Trump would be personally involved with the negotiations. And those who cause trouble are going to get trouble, basically is what he's saying. Those who don't cause trouble are going to be treated very well. So anyway, folks, I'll go ahead and play this clip. And I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. I should be going live tomorrow night if everything goes well. And I got a lot more stuff that I want to go over with you. And I hope you join me. If you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. And thank you, everyone who watched with me tonight and who watches after the live stream. I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy this little message from Scott Bessent. And I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Trump has maximum negotiating leverage right here, right now. And I think it would be a mistake for anyone to think otherwise. And as I said, many of our trading partners, they have queued up and they have kept their cool. They have not escalated, and they will get priority in the queue. I think it was a big mistake, this Chinese escalation, because they're playing with a pair of traditionally, if you look at the history of the trade negotiations, we are the deficit country. So what do we lose by the Chinese raising tariffs on us? We export 1/5 to them of what they export to us. So that is a losing hand for them.